Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another show of the Conspiracy Keepers. I apologize I wasn't with you guys this weekend, but it is March 1st. We're going to march forward along with everything that's marching along in the Ukraine right now. And I'm joined with our group with Jackie, Joe, and Scooter. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. We missed
Hey,
you.
everybody.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with Jackie. Well, ladies first on all of this.
Oh, I don't know if I need my glasses or not. There's a lot of light shining off of them. Okay, here we go, right? We got your Russia. We got your Ukraine. We've got the invasion that isn't, is it really an invasion or is it for fear? I'm not saying there aren't bombs going off and things of this nature, but it's all part of the same. It's a deal that was made behind closed doors without our knowledge, without the Ukrainian people's knowledge, without the United States, without Russia, none of the people. It's just the head of the spider that made these decisions on exactly what is happening. So for that, I feel really bad that the Ukrainian people are involved in this and that all of us, because the COVID thing has kind of wore itself out, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they've gotten all the mileage they've got out of that. I think they do their statistics behind the scenes, and they think, okay, everybody that's going to get the jab has gotten it, and we can't push this much farther. So now we're going to start some wartime stuff going on that we're going to occupy people's fear with now. So that's where they're going now, I think.
And why do you think that is, everybody? Because it is producing a lot of wealth.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's money making. I mean, we learned that in high school. I mean,
Sure.
in my high school, social studies class, what's a great way to pump up some money in the economy? Let's have a war.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And what I was doing last night, I mean, I was sitting up there and I'm watching TV and I'm watching professional wrestling.
Oh,
and we've talked about this before. And this whole war is done just like wrestling is done. You've got Vince McMahon, who is the owner of this whole, wrestling federation. You've got your good guys and you got your bad guys. The bad guys are called the heels in wrestling lingo, and the good guys are called the baby faces. Okay, so you got your duality going on there. You got your same thing going on right now. You got your Putin, who is playing the heel, and you got the leader from the Ukraine, and he is playing the baby face, Zelensky. But they're both on the same side. Okay, they are both working for the same people, just like they're doing in wrestling. And we've seen this thing play out time and time again. These people are on the same side, and they are scripting this whole thing. This whole thing has been scripted out. Okay, it's not what it appears to be. And the people are the one, just like you said, Jackie. The people are the one that's in the dark. The people are the one that's going to suffer, because these people up at the top, they're all in it. They're all working together. They all belong to the same secret societies. They're all Freemasons, and they're all working together for this new world order. Now, the thing about this war is, it's not so much a war from their point of view as it is a consolidation, because the Ukraine and Russia have been linked together for a long time. So they're just consolidating right now. That's all they're doing, under the guise of war, to keep you in fear, to crash the markets, and they're going to make the money from this. And that's the way it always works. They're not changing their tactics.
No, they're trying to squeeze it. They're trying, Scooter talks about the squeeze play, and this is exactly what's happening. And I don't just mean physically on the ground with Ukraine and going over the river and everything. Of course, that's there. But what they're trying to do, if you think about the overall thing, is to scare us to death, is to deplete the middle class wealth, any wealth.
That's right.
And to collapse small business.
Right.
And so this is what scares me to death, is that the price of gas is going up and people are watching this and now they're afraid. Can I pay for the gas? Can I pay to get to work? I'm already not working full time, right? And it's just, it's frightening. It really is. It makes me sad.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And it's sad because so many people are so deceived and they don't get it. And then this is just, I gotta love this. The leader of the Ukraine gets on TV and he does his little press conference, right? And he gets up there and he says, in his little sad face, he's really a bad actor, but he gets up there in a sad face and says, you know what? this might be the last you're going to see from me before the enemy gets me.
Oh, my goodness.
He's acting all sad. He said, this is his press conference. He's on TV talking to everybody. And he says,
you may not get this message.
And he says,
he's talking to the Russian people.
And then he says, and I'm number one on their hit list. Now, look, we all know how intelligence works nowadays. They would know exactly where he is at all times, what he's doing, when he's doing it. If they really were going to get him, they could wipe him out right there immediately at the time. But no. He gets on TV and his sad face and says, oh, I'm on their hit list. Like they don't know where he is and they don't know what he's doing. It's absolutely insanely comical now.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, it gets better. He was then out in the streets with his phone doing the pictures.
Right. I know, right?
Okay.
Like they don't know this. They can't find him. He's number one on their hit list, but he's out there doing. We don't know where he is. Oh my gosh.
And when Joe and Jackie, when you talk about it scripted or it is the playbook. The playbook is universal in order and sequence of what they'll do. How they'll necessarily tweak it each time is different, but it's textbook playbook operations. Why?
Sure.
Because the people are still that stupid. So stupid to right now it's tax season. Tonight will be the State of the Union address. And yet the repeaters or the reporters in the media talking about the stock market taking a loss. No. When the money goes out of one area, it goes somewhere else. So the slaves are taking the loss. The elite make money on the way up and on the way down.
Sure.
And everywhere in between. And the public can't know that in mass, because then they really understand. FedEx and UPS in solidarity have discontinued flights for delivery to Russia. That's great, but FedEx is no more federal than the Federal Reserve. And we are watching now what is not yet a free fall collapse of the economy, but in keeping with keeping them afraid. This nonsense of nuclear weapons on the table so quick into this is a load of horse hockey. First of all, the media is reporting that Vladimir Putin put his nuclear deterrent strike force on heightened alert. That is a lie. Vladimir Putin ordered his Russian army, his Russian Air Force, and his Russian submarines to a heightened state of alert. His military, just as our U.S. military did when this started. But you don't hold a press conference to announce that. So for literally 72 hours, the media hyping potential nuclear war to keep people scared and watching what they're serving, some really big lies have come out. Snake Island, the Russians who allegedly yelled, you're not coming here. They're all dead. No, they're not. They're alive. They're being held as guests. Mostly peaceful guests by the Russians, because they're not prisoners of war, because war hasn't been declared yet. The media ran with the heroism and FCC violations all over the place, letting Russians swear on the air, but not letting broadcasters tell the truth. And the other, Snake Island was the first one. And this ghost of Ukraine went from hitting 6 fighter Russian planes to then 7. The number now is exceeding 20. Wait a minute. I don't think people understand how much fuel it takes to engage 20 different planes and shoot them down in the course of 72 hours.
So what are you saying? You saying every single thing that we hear is an absolute lie?
In particular, this nonsense about the Russian or the Ukrainians who were defending Snake Island off the shore in the Crimea, Sea of Azov, Black Sea in the south, Snake Island. The media all ran with, they're all dead. The Russians killed them. No, they're not. They're alive. We've seen the video, but they ran with that for 72 hours. All right. Boy, they got that one wrong, but they sure.
Oops, I think we lost
And
you.
share it.
Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
But if we talk about it and share it in the wrong place, we're spreading disinformation. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all cracking down and creating task forces to look into potential, mystery actors and those spreading misinformation and disinformation.
Well,
sorry, Jackie, but what a crock.
yeah, we're losing your
we're losing your signal.
Your microphone.
Yeah, it was because I was pausing and not speaking and then inflecting voice. It's new. Please, if you want me to take it out and go back to normal, then I will.
It needs to learn you. It needs to learn you.
I guess. I guess. If you want me to take them out, I will.
Well,
now it's sounding fine.
Yeah, it sounds okay right now. But just to follow up on what you just said, did you see? I mean, this is just ridiculous. Did you see Miss Ukraine? She's in this little swimsuit first, and she's all looking good, and Miss Ukraine, and it says, and Miss Ukraine is so moved by this, she's taken to the streets and fighting, and then they have a picture of her with goggles on and a big AK-47.
That's what
wow, she's gonna hit the streets. It is. If it wasn't so sad, it is comical now.
In her bikini?
Well, no, they had her in the bikini. They had her in her war stuff, in the next picture, but they were doing the contrast. Like even Miss Ukraine is going to get out there and fight for their rights.
That would be really cute if she was in, her bikini, AK goggles.
Yeah, I know.
Well, they might as well have done that.
Yeah,
they might as well have.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised they didn't go that far.
It's crazy, you guys. It's absolutely crazy. I was watching an interview on, I don't know, I think it was a British I-5 or something. And they were interviewing a young couple in their car, and they were fleeing, so they were, and they were saying, yeah, we're not allowed to, the young man, they both spoke English very well. You're not allowed to use communications that are outside of the area where they live in Ukraine. Their phones won't connect to the UK, the US, Germany, anything like that. So if you think that kind of fencing is unique to this particular war, folks, it's going to happen to us eventually, to all of us. If we become dissidents, if we they have the technology to do it. It's whether we're going to take it or not. See, we can win these little battles. We just have to keep on going.
Right, and what they've done is
the new phrase in the media is a reverse iron curtain now around Russia, creating an iron curtain in which embargoes, trade sanctions, penalties, refusal to allow transit, refusal to allow commerce, and choke them off. Because back to invasion, the Soviet army is invading the country of Ukraine. Massive military armament is surrounding the various cities, and little shock and awe operations of some random shelling and missile strikes are going to bring is what the Soviets think will bring the people to their knees. But in the West, again, Joe and the bikini, and now, but the reality, the Western media is more focused on the women taking up arms and diversity and female leadership, while, the poor children, what's going to happen with the children? Boy, if Hillary isn't chomping at the bit to start another foundation, who knows? Because I fear that is scaring me. I fear for these children being trafficked. This is nonsense where this is going. Glorifying the women in the field. But again, think about here in the US and the West, if suddenly everybody's got to get drafted tomorrow, this self-entitled society is going to implode. But the misdirection, several hundred Ukrainians are dead. Now reports of a Russian strike on a military base killing 70 Ukrainian soldiers. 5,000 to 6,000 Russian soldiers are dead. the Ukrainians are kicking ass all over the place.
Well, that's what's being reported.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Allegedly.
Right. Allegedly, right.
That's what I don't believe. This whole
Allegedly.
thing is a play. It's a
Yeah,
play
yeah,
from start
right.
to finish.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Jack. It's
Oh.
like professional wrestling. I mean, it literally is like professional wrestling. Yeah. You got your heels, you got your good guys, you got your bad guys.
Us against them.
Yeah. And what you were talking about a little bit earlier, we're talking about censorship. You know, everything that we're saying right now, they're going to say, you know, that the regular news media is going to say, oh, they're dangerous. They're a threat. You know, it's like, if you listen to these people, you know, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. We got to get them out of here. We got to get them off the air. We can't give them a platform. I mean, that's where they're going with this whole censorship thing, to where they don't like us. They don't like what we're saying. They consider us a danger. They consider us domestic terrorists, and we're a danger to freedom. I mean, you know, that's where they're going to go with this whole thing, and they're just going to ramp it up as they start getting into more and more of these wars, and they're fear mongering.
Well, they can try, but
happening.
But like I said before, we got tired of the COVID thing, and they were starting to get beat on that.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, another card from the playbook. I mean, these people, they're not elected officials, just the richest, the ones who aren't elected officials, the richest ones, you know, they have meetings annually in lots of places like Davos. Sure. And they meet and decide what's going to happen to us plebeians. And they're playing a game. They're playing a game. Got their little deck of cards. Well, that's not going to work. Let's pull out this one. And that whole electronic fencing thing really is frightening. China has really perfected that, where they don't let information out or in specific areas. So there's no need for another wall. You know, there's no need for another wall. It is an electronic wall.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just like you said, it's going to be an electronic war. They don't need physical barriers anymore. You're exactly right. That's exactly what they're going to do.
It's just crazy, you guys, but more and more people need to talk about it. And I don't think they can silence everyone. I know they want to kill us all and everything like that, but they can't silence every person. They can get rid of some of the great alternative, you know, journalists and YouTubers and stuff like that by shutting off their feeds, but they can't shut off every feed. Can they?
No, they can't. But so what they're going to try to do is just ridicule us. They're going to try to demonize us. They're going to try to get people not to listen to us just, you know, because we're so dangerous. That's how they're going to do it. They're just, you know.
But people are coming around. You talk to any single person, it doesn't matter what their politics are or anything, whether it's your brother-in-law, whether it's your neighbor, everybody sees what's happening.
Sure. Right.
Scooter, you had a question, Scooter.
Scooter, you're holding up your green hand.
Yeah, I figured out how to raise my hand in the room on this damn thing. All right. You were discussing the electronic fences that can control information, allowing it from one region or not allowing it to another region. And I bring up Area 51. Okay. Or is this reversed? Does it not say Area 51?
It sure does. It sure does.
Okay. It's a replica. I didn't steal it from Groom Lake.
Okay.
Jackie, have you been to Groom Lake?
Now, I was out there in November looking for Rose Wells, where Howard Hughes landed the plane with Yvonne DiCarlo, which is parallel on the other side of the freeway from Area 51. Yeah, I was out there, man, in the middle of the desert, walking around, getting sand all over my body.
Did you go to the mailbox?
I did not go to the mailbox.
Why?
Chicken.
Okay, now right there. See, this argument of we need to build a wall around Mexico and the U.S. Okay, if you used, and I said this a decade ago on my radio show, if you use just the Generation 2, like T1, T5, just Gen 2 technology from Area 51 and their perimeter fencing, you would never need a border, because they're going to know the minute, they don't know the minute you cross it. They know the minute you're 500 yards from it. Mm-hmm. Why? Because then they're suddenly over and survey what? All of these signs say we have permission to kill by the government. We're the government. That's the whole argument of we're the government. And then the minute the whole storm Area 51 started, the media had to immediately poo-poo it as like the next Burning Man.
Mhm.
And yet in the Hollywood Independence Day, Will Smith and Randy Quaid, or Dennis Quaid, which are the Quaids?
It was
Quaid.
Randy.
Randy Quaid. They roll up on it. Yeah, you want to see my pass? Here's my pass. Boogeyman and the alien, and let them through. And what are we doing about the 1,000 RVs behind? Let them in. We're under attack. This argument of somehow we fear our military soldiers. They have orders to kill. If the numbers of the script are true regarding casualty rates on either side versus the number of actual soldiers fighting versus the soldiers for support, because there's a ratio of a soldier in the field to how many you need behind them. Less than 20% of the combat soldiers in the theater they're describing to us based on the casualty rate are actually firing their gun.
Well,
Something's not adding up. And
no,
Americans and the West, with the West by majority now, are a bunch of wussies who've all won a medal for never doing anything and think that condemning and embargoes and no-fly zones work, when in fact all it's going to do is have the bully storm right over you.
they have
And
so much
they don't
technology.
get it.
None of it. They know when we're even thinking about approaching the perimeter. You know,
Yeah.
Why do you think the mask mandates suddenly went away in multiple states, including the District of Criminals? And for the first time since COVID, the president will address the Congress without their masks on.
Yeah, that's
Put
right.
your
Yeah.
tampons back on, and we need to take them all out, and just a couple of hours of good old-fashioned electroshock therapy.
what do you think he's doing right
just
now?
to get him back on track.
Are they pumping him full of vitamin B like they do with the artists at Red Rocks when they poop out? You know, and they can't go on stage. The doctor
We're
shows
gonna
up with a
find
shot
out
of vitamin
tonight
B.
his demeanor, aren't we? Because he goes to bed early, and Alzheimer's, I'm sorry, people with old-timers disease don't like being up after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They're cranky. So we're going to see what kind of Joe Biden they deliver. And is he being doped up, and will we be able to tell? And how long?
Joe,
State of the Union addresses can go for an hour. Joe went that hour. Oh, I'll go more time with it. Yeah, because it was lunchtime. He was just ready to go get an ice cream cone. Him being up at 10 o'clock Eastern,
well,
he has to get his 8 hours of sleep, and he gets up at 4:30 in the morning, allegedly.
Joe, he could be a
Hardest working man on Capitol Hill, Joe Biden.
He could be a double, couldn't he? They could have cloned him by now.
Yeah, they do. They actually do have a lot of doubles. They always have doubles for these people. Absolutely.
And I find this horribly comical. I'm sorry, but how can you even think about any of this without dying of laughter inside?
I know.
I mean,
I know. It's
first
you're
I'm
right.
sad, then I'm laughing because
it's getting to be that way. I hear you.
It's just the whole thing is just.
And it's not a coincidence. We talked about this before as well. Yeah, they do things as far as like dates, astrology, all that kind of stuff. So March 1st, it's not a coincidence that March 1st is, what they have the speech going with Joe tonight and the mask mandate. So, behind the scenes, they had already planned this. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they had a meeting months ago to sign all the details, remember?
Yes, they did. They absolutely did. And that's what these secret societies are all about. They get together in their secret meetings, and they discuss the future. They map the future of mankind. And like we had talked about before, they do it on certain dates, and they plan their events around certain dates in numerology as well. So March 1st, it's not a coincidence. May 1st, you'll see them do a lot of things on May 1st as well. So yeah, absolutely. This has been the plans for a long time.
Joe, can you remind everybody about it's not only the numerology, but where he's going to be delivering this from? In front of the fasci, in the hallowed halls of Congress, Congress nestled within the owl of the District of Criminals, and what the owl represents of where this might go next with what you were just saying. That's what immediately popped in my head. The owl and evening, how the media will do the overshots overlooking our nation's capital in its splendor, when in fact it's nestled in the owl.
Yeah, well, we see the owl at Bohemian Grove. The owl is Moloch, and they do sacrifices. They do ritual sacrifices in front of the owl. You'll see a lot of the streets in Washington, D.C. that are shaped like pentagrams or like owls or owl's eyes. Yeah, so those are all symbolism that they use. They use their
Will
signs
they
and
put
symbols.
it in our face tonight?
They do. Yeah, they absolutely do.
But it's one thing to just do a little, it's one thing to do a quick screenshot. It's another to actually just let them stare at it. For back when they originally put the all-seeing eye of CBS logo down here in the corner, and we went, hey, it means the TV's what? Oh, you're paranoid. What do you mean the TV's what? The TV is what? It's for your own safety. The firefighters were able to break into your house and let your dog out because your TV caught fire.
Yeah, it was the
That's
eye of
how
Horus.
crazy it's got.
Yeah, the eye of Horus. We see it on the dollar bill with the eye in the triangle, the eye on the dollar bill, the all-seeing eye of Horus. You see a lot of celebrities doing their one eye, covering their one eye. You know, they're all part of the club. They're all signaling. They're all part of the club. They're all as one with this, and that's how they communicate with each other with signs and symbols, because they don't necessarily all know each other, but they do come to know each other by doing this, and the general public has no clue what's going on, and they know we have no clue, and they laugh about it behind closed doors. This is how gullible we are.
This is the time that we stop being gullible, people.
I know.
This is the time of awakening. I mean,
I agree.
everything everywhere says that. I mean, it was prophesied.
Absolutely.
We're in the times that were predicted, people.
Mhm.
Snap, snap.
I know.
So then I
Absolutely.
yield to Jackie. When you say we're in the times that are predicted, what precisely are they predicting, and what do you think is next if you had to predict or prognosticate?
I couldn't prognosticate, because it's already been done before. They're going to squeeze everything down,
Mhm.
and they're going to give us a false leader to follow.
Mhm.
It's in a big book. You can probably find one on everybody's shelf.
Right.
That's what's going to
Yeah.
happen. Not in our lifetime, but the greater reset is here. It's on track. And all they have to do in case it gets off track is pull another card out of their little deck.
All right. Now, you made mention of the card, and I brought up nuclear weapons still on the table, but Joe Biden says Americans shouldn't worry. So that now has all the Americans worried because Joe said don't.
Well,
The Illuminati card game. Remember the Illuminati card game?
Yeah.
Backlash. Can you pull up the nuclear bomb or thermonuclear weapons? What does it say on the Illuminati card game for nuclear weapons?
If I pull it up, it's going to screw with the bandwidth, so I'll have to power
Jackie,
up
you
my
pull it
iPad
up.
and I'll look on there.
You brought up the card. I wouldn't want to play that card. I'm curious if they've already, like September 11th, Joe, we talked about in the Illuminati card game, there was a Twin Towers card.
Yeah,
There was a terrorism card.
Yeah, and a pentagram card. Yeah, absolutely. Pentagon.
And a
with
pentagon, correct.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious in the Illuminati, because my Illuminati card deck is out at the storage locker. Dear God, please don't make me go out there and get it. But I have one in storage. I just don't remember what the card says.
Oh, dang.
Oh, you mean as far as nuclear war?
It says game over.
Remember, because it'd have the picture and then it had other things on the card. It just wasn't. Oh,
Well,
damn it.
I can tell you something, that this whole threat of, I'm looking it up as well, of nuclear war and the mention of nuclear weapons is just another scare tactic. Nobody wants the world to blow up, because how could the
But do
Russians?
they?
Yeah, how could the Russians, how could anyone make more money? How could the
So how do they
Davos
make
crowd?
more money? You just kill the breadbasket of Europe and you change where agriculture has to take place and how agriculture takes place in a way that you couldn't incrementally get there. You force it to happen overnight.
Well, they're going to grow the food in space, dude. They're going to grow the food. It's all going to be up there. Well, anyways, they don't want to blow up the Earth, because that would, and trust me when I say the outer space people will not have that. They intervened after Hiroshima. They sent people from the lengths of the farthest infinity that you can imagine to try to save us from doing a third bomb. Because this messes with the electromagnetic field of the entire bloody universe, people, not just our universe, but the infinity of galactic space. Okay, we
Jackie,
cannot blow up our little planet. It's
you've
not gonna happen.
interviewed some people about this. I have a third-party question if maybe you
Mhm.
asked it or they explained it. Because there was the Trinity site where they tested the gadget. The gadget successfully then creates Fat Man and Little Boy.
Do you mean the crystal? Uh-oh, I'm losing you. Speaking of bandwidth, I think we're losing somebody somewhere.
Yes. Oh, you still there?
Yeah, Scooter, you're gonna have to start over. I can't hear you at all.
Yeah, I can't hear either. It looks like you've lost your microphone, Scooter.
And his
Hear me?
camera.
Oh,
There
he's
you are. We just had a little burp in the signal. We see you now.
Nobody can hear me?
Now
Now we
we can.
can.
No, we
can
got
now.
you now. You're back now.
So Jackie, you brought up that I'm not saying okay, I'm going to agree that everything you're saying was true. Was it discussed because you brought up after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but after the creation of the Manhattan Project, they come up with what was codenamed the Gadget. The Gadget is the Trinity site, the Trinity test site at Los Alamos when they detonate, and okay, we got it. That creates Fat Man and Little Boy. That creates Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Why did, as you said, well, they went everywhere and they came back, and no. Why did they allow Hiroshima and Nagasaki to take place after?
Well,
Did you finish your thought there, Scooter? I think we lost you again.
I think we lost you again. Okay. Let me
No,
answer.
that was the end.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought we lost you. Okay.
It sounds weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Okay.
your mic is breaking up.
I've told you before, they're not allowed to immediately intervene. It's the Prime Directive. Didn't you ever watch Star Trek? It's the Prime Directive. You can't just come here and say, no, we're not doing this. It's a difference of frequency between worlds, people, dimensions. But they're not going to allow, there is an amount of manipulation that can be done, but they're not going to allow us to blow up this planet. It cannot happen. No matter how harmonic or off-world or whatever the evil part of it is, there's also good. We have an alliance of good for us too. Let's not forget that. This is just a play, people.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a play.
Right.
And we as humans, and I say this all the time, we have a chance to turn this around so we don't have to do it all over again.
How?
Yeah, and
Well,
How do we do that?
there have been people sent. You got to read Convoluted Universe, but the series
gotta
of
hear you
5
out of-
books, but by Dolores Cannon. But anyways, there are people sent here in different forms and stuff like that to protect us and to wake other people up. People are sent here to be beacons. I have a friend who said to me one time, well, I believe everything you're saying, but what can we do? Now, what we can do is called knowing. Okay. As beings, we are super powerful, right? We only see a little tiny bit of the electromagnetic dimensional spectrum in this little meat bag. Okay. But other beings and other people who are in our field, not only of the planet, but also in our personal fields. Okay. They can influence this. They can and they will influence this, but we have to know. And we have to tell other people. I mean, Scooter, you could be sent here from, I don't know, we could have some work done and find out exactly what planet you're from and how many lifetimes you've had. Same with Joe, same with Backlash.
I've got a guess on that, but I won't say it live.
Okay, don't do it. But we can find out if you're one of the light workers, and you must be. I mean, why? You and I have talked about this before. Why have our lives, our professional lives, intertwined with each other so many times? Same with Joe. It's not an accident.
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And keep in mind, in the occult world, what they have to do, if you've read the book Revelation of the Method, they have to first thing they have to do is tell you what they're going to do beforehand, and then they have to get you an agreement, even if you don't know you're agreeing with it, because that really gives them the okay to go ahead and carry out their plans. So the more people wake up and the more people say, no, I'm not in agreement with what they're doing, that stifles their plans. So that's what deception does. They have to tell you in advance, and they have to get you an agreement to do it. It's kind of like Dracula. Dracula, you know, the old thing about Dracula can't come into your house, he has to be invited in. That's what they have to do. They have rules they have to follow. You have to invite them in, and people unknowingly invite them in.
Well,
And that's what their deception is all about.
yes. And the way that people invite them in is by succumbing to fear.
Yes. They
And
work with
anything
fear.
else
That's right. They work
that
with
is a
fear.
lower vibrational
That's right.
human emotion.
And that's why they're always trying to keep us in fear. That's why the headlines are always fearful, because that invites them in. When we're scared of the virus, we're scared of this, we're scared of that, we're scared of nuclear war. That just invites them in. That gives them power. That's what they feed off of.
Now, there are certain inevitabilities that can happen, right? The polls can shift here any minute now. If you believe, well, there's so many people who believe in the poll shift. I mean, since back at the beginning of, our reports of them investigating the polls themselves.
Mhm.
Remember when dudes went down to Antarctica in the 40s after the war? They took all that equipment and everything down there?
That's
High
right.
jump.
Yes, that's right.
Sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Was
And
it Operation High Jump?
It's still reported, this is hilarious, still reported that there are 0 inhabitants of Antarctica, human inhabitants.
Lie.
Of course it is. There's something so special and so secretive there that they couldn't possibly let the rest of us know.
Hence the distraction with flat Earth. I think that's all a original OSS CIA mind screw to keep off of back then, which was his the admiral who went down there and they got
Admiral Byrd. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, in the battle, the military battle. Was it Byrd?
Yes.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd.
There's another name regarding, I want to say it was Operation High Jump in 1947 going down
Yeah.
to Antarctica.
They took navies and armies from all over the globe with them because everybody had that surplus equipment from the war.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't fare very well. And that got all buried in the headlines of the day because they were used to report, the Navy went down. They're coming back a little brown, nothing.
Yeah.
I think we're losing you again, Scooter.
Darn it, Scooter.
Yeah.
We have Scooter interrupt us there. Look at his face, he's so mad.
Go ahead, finish your point, Scooter. I think.
Go ahead, Scooter.
I don't know what got out. It doesn't matter next. Backlash, how you doing? What are you doing?
I'm trying to Google half this stuff that you're rattling off real quick, especially the convoluted universe. I'm looking at.
Oh, there's 5 books by Dolores Cannon, convoluted 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And all the information is in there. I mean, all of her books. If you guys haven't read even one of her books, get started. Because she was the one who opened the door on finding this lost knowledge and confirming, multiple lives and dimensions and stuff. But the Convoluted Universe series has all the information about how all metaphysical stuff works, and the Akashic record and what it actually looks like physically, if you can see it. And there are many people on Earth. They're just called witches, or warlocks, or whoever. But people can see it, they can read it, they can hear it. I mean, this is
Will
a record.
You email that to Joe so he can put it in the show notes in the description, copy and paste so viewers can click it and go?
Of course.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll even put the links where you can buy it at a discount and at full price. But all that stuff is published by Dolores Cannon's family, and they have an outfit called Ozark Mountain Publishing, which she started before her death. And it has all of her metaphysical books. She was interested in the subject, and man, they ended up, she wrote 19 books during her lifetime, and she didn't start till she was a middle-aged old lady.
Interesting. Okay.
There's hope for me, people. There's hope.
I have an interesting question of what we were talking about earlier, Jackie, and the aliens, and Joe, what you've been talking about the ancient times of Babylon. Did either of you, and Backlash, did you see the story that King Tutankhamun, his sword, is from another planet? Was the headline.
I haven't seen that.
I didn't see that story, but it doesn't surprise me. I believe all that stuff. They're all from another planet.
Because in the times of Egypt and the kings of the pharaohs, and in particular Tutankhamun, it was not the Iron Age yet. So what's he doing with an iron dagger?
Sure. I mean, all that stuff. Didn't you ever watch Ancient Aliens?
No.
Or or we've been told it wasn't the Iron Age. I think we've been
Yeah,
lied to about a lot
because-
of our history.
Right. Well, that's again, if we're supposed to believe what is true, and again, in Joe, the description of Babylon, so that they're not able to talk because of so much confusion. Meaning they become ignorant and become good little slaves and hopefully never speak. But wouldn't the first argument be, all right, during the time of the pharaohs and if it's true and the slaves did all the work, they weren't slaves, they were servants. They adored the king. But it takes 200 years to build this.
It wasn't built by humans. Come on, we all know this.
I know that.
Oh.
I'm just saying, if allegedly all that's true, well, in all of that sand, you're gonna find a meteorite, and the meteorite may be comprised of iron, and then you are somehow able to conquer that metal and shape it into whatever to adorn your god. That makes more sense than unless. See, and then back to Jack, you were talking about the aliens, and they have the Prime Directive. It's human arrogance to suggest that the aliens are thinking on a level that we are, and even the creation of the narrative and fiction of the Prime Directive. And even if they are a superior society, there's going to be renegades even within the superior society. Look at planet Krypton and look at, General Zod.
Well, I don't dispute that at all. That's how we get it, our monic presence, which is off-world, onto this world. There's lots of bad guys in the universe, and they've all come here. The good ones and the bad ones, they've all come here. It's just like the ancient Indian texts and myths say there was a war in the sky between good and evil. Hello, that's where we get the concept of good and evil, people. Hello, Chariots of Fire,
Okay.
Anybody?
Mm-hmm. That's right. I remember that well. Absolutely.
Oh my God, the movie that they made in 1970 of it, you guys, is
yes, I do remember that.
Is on Prime.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so if you
Okay.
want to watch it again, it is so funny because the music is hilarious. It's such a 70s movie. Oh God.
Yeah.
It has like these weird jazz boom, boom with the drums and it's a trip, man.
Yeah, I still see Eric Von Daniken. I see him sometimes being interviewed on the History Channel or places like that. So they still bring him out, and he still talks about it.
Oh, he's doing fine. He'll do podcast appearances. We can get him on here if you want to.
We should be able to. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll appear anywhere.
Yeah.
He knows it all, man. He wrote 19 books or something like that as well. Many books on the subject. Yeah.
So Jackie, is that Chariots of Fire? That's not the one about da 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 da.
I'm sorry, it's Chariots of the Gods.
Chariots of the Gods, right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but apparently my microphone's horrible. And I
Chariots of the Gods. That just shows my age, though, that 80s thing, doesn't it, Jerry?
Oh, man, I remember that. No, I completely remember that as well.
Not to be confused with The Gods Must Be Crazy.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah, that's a different deal altogether.
I don't know why still a generation, some people synonymize or misquote from those two movies. And I think more The Gods Must Be Crazy was more like a cult film versus Chariots of the Gods. But I wasn't trying to be humorous or disconnect, but isn't that interesting? Chariots of Gods comes out, and then The Gods Must Be Crazy in a media attempt to like Reefer Madness.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Jack, you're on Prime?
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Okay.
Well, thankfully, I do have Prime, so I might look that one up tonight just for.
Oh, you might have fun. I don't know if you smoke a bowl first or whatever, but it's a trip.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't personally partake, but it is a really funny, the music, how nowadays we get like sound effects and ba-ba-bum, stuff that's all created electronically in films, even in documentaries. But this thing all had like this big giant jazz orchestra that made the music. It's a fascinating story. The movie is hysterical. But they go to all the ancient sites that we're talking about. Every single ancient site that has magical powers and gods and all that stuff. And there's just beyond a doubt that these people are ETs.
Yeah, and not only that, but they do it on certain magnetic, certain spots on the earth too, the ley lines.
Oh,
They call
yes,
them ley
yes.
lines. There's certain energy
Yes.
grids that they do them on as well. So they know
Yes.
where all these things are. It's
Of
the
course.
secret knowledge. Yeah, yeah, they absolutely do. Absolutely know where they are. So it's not a coincidence where they were built, where the pyramids were built, where all these things were built. There's a certain place that they had to be.
Yeah. I was just watching a little video on Scotland. There's a tours of I'm big into the Scottish stuff. And you know, the stone of destiny that England stole from Scotland, because they thought, well, there's no way you can have any more kings if we steal the stone. Okay, so that's
perfect sense.
Yeah, that's the stone that sits underneath the throne. Now it's in Westminster Abbey, and the Queen was ordained under the stone, on top of the stone. Okay, so this is a very magical item that came from a magical place. Scotland has so much lore, you guys. It is so much so much of it came out of Scotland. Anyway, and so they just tried to steal the stone, and you know, the Scottish people just kept on going. And decided to make more kings. But ancient kings of Scotland were crowned on top of the stone. And like I said, they stole it away.
I will dig into that as well, because I am of Scottish descent.
Me too. I have some on both sides, both mother and father.
And I will look around the house just for you guys. I believe my grandfather was also a Mason.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I don't know how many degrees, but
yeah.
Backlash?
Yes.
Do you happen to have an old Scottish family recipe for puppies?
Puppies? No, I don't.
What are they?
They're delicious, but no, I do not.
They are. Canine.
Are you teasing? You're teasing Backlash because he's
Backlash is the grandpa.
Backlash has a new puppy.
No, well, I've got a new puppy,
Even
but
saying the joke is flat. So you think when you type it on social media, it's funny. Not really.
my daughter just got a puppy, so yeah.
Aw.
That's
PAW. Tell her not to be scared. I just friended her on Facebook.
Okay. and I just friended her on Facebook too, but tell her to be very afraid.
Yeah,
I will.
Have we missed, Joe? We're pushing an hour. Backlash. We good for 10 more minutes? Did we miss anything?
We got 5
other headlines.
Unfortunately, gentlemen, and beautiful young lady, we've only got 5. I got something coming up at 4:15, so I've got to get this transposed and get over to Joe. I don't know. I mean, my head is reeling, as I'm sure a few of the others are. But I mean, I loved everything you guys were talking about today. I'm still a little skeptical on it being completely scripted on the deaths and everything, but there is some truth in there as well. So I hopefully will have time to watch the news tonight and dig more and see if something jumps out at me. And if it does, then I'll be hitting some text messages over to you guys. Like,
all right. I don't know if I could watch the president's speech though. I just don't know if I can. It's so.
I know it's hard. It is hard to watch, isn't it?
I can feel people's feelings, and just watching, I just have a lot of empathy, for his confusion. And if you've ever seen anybody suffering from old timers, and they lose their thought, and the squinting of the eyes and the sudden bursts of violent speech. And
right. Well, and he's the one that they picked. I mean, they knew this about him before they put him in there. So that's what they want. That's what they wanted to put out there in front of everybody. But I will say that I think a little bit what we touched on earlier about where this is going. I think that they're going to back off from this COVID finally. I think they're going to drop the mask mandates altogether pretty soon. I think they want to move a different direction now in terms of war. I think that's what they want now, because they want to crash the economy. They want the dollar to be worthless. And they want to establish their currency, their worldwide currency. So wars are going to do that probably more effectively than the virus will. Although the virus was a start. The virus was a start. So keep in mind, the same people that were behind that are behind the wars. It's always orchestrated by the same people and the same powers. So kind of
they kept wanting to tie in the influenza pandemic, epidemic that happened with the flu. Well, what came out of that? World War I. We said that now is a conspiracy theory, and you got to get it off because you're scaring people. That's what they want to do.
Just know, to leave you with a good thought, you guys and everybody who's listening, is that we get to control the way we think about this.
Right. Right.
And we don't need to be afraid because we know it's a play, right?
Mhm.
There's no yesterday,
It's
there's no
scripted.
tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's just this second right now. Are you okay right now?
Mhm.
So just so people don't, if they don't believe or whatever, you just don't need to feel the fear. You don't need to absorb the fear. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to, even though we have a little bit of wiggle room because we as people have free will. Not everybody from outer space, ETs, other beings have free will. That's why they want us so bad. They want to control us because we have free will. That's my parting comment.
Yeah, and like you just said, Jackie, we don't need to be in fear. We don't want to be in fear because that's what empowers them. That's what gives them the power. So just stay out of that realm, and it's going to be to our benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go listen to your favorite piece of music or play music yourself or go walking outside and whatever.
Right.
Stay close to nature, have some delicious foods.
Mm-hmm. Scooter, any last words from you?
I'll see everybody 1 a.m. Eastern on the World Wide Web at Scooter McGee on YouTube. I'm doing live headlines every night. 1 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Mountain is what it is. And the headlines and the breakdown, if here's the contrast, they're reporting this and we're seeing this. So what you're claiming versus what we're seeing are three different things. And this attempt to suppress any information that's outside the narrative is there. I mean, we thought that they were going after people reporting outside the box on COVID. That was a beta test for this. The suppression of speech now on the internet and overwhelming support and calling for it out of solidarity for the people of Ukraine. And I got this. You asked me anything else. Remember, we've been trying to figure out why it's Kyiv and not Kiev, like we all knew as kids.
I do, yeah.
Why are they trying to change it?
Have you heard the answer yet the media is giving?
No.
I have not.
Russians call the people there Kiev. That's a lie. The rest of the world called it Kiev. The people of Ukraine call it Kyiv. So in supporting Kyiv, well, then why did you change that narrative, 3 and 6 weeks ago? No, because I would like to say hello to everybody in Deutschland. I'd like to say hello to everybody in España.
Right. We don't do it.
Wait, you're going to change? I'd like to say hello to everybody in Persia. I'd like to say hello to many of the countries that don't exist anymore. Yes, they are. They're right there, but you've changed the name. Thinking that you're going to change, again, the conquerors and the bankers write the history. Well, how come we can't say hello to everybody in Deutschland? Because honk honk is the same as saying Heil Hitler. They're doing some dangerous things with the words right now.
Let's stay with Kiev.
It went so far about Kyiv versus Kiev that Russians are saying it in a derogatory manner, and it's a racial slur.
Oh boy.
Like the N-word. Oh my God, that's ABC News reporting that. That's dangerous.
Well,
Kiev.
Gives us something to think about. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me.
Racial slur.
Wowie.
And that we didn't get to the Nazis because nobody's paying attention that Zelensky's Jewish. We got to purge the Nazis out of the Ukraine. Yeah. We got to kill the leader. He's a Jew. He's not a Nazi. How can you be both? We can talk about that next time.
All right. Notation of that.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Joe, where can they find us?
Okay, you can find us at conspiracykeepers.com, and you can, that's where our videos are. And you can also find us at theconspiracyzone.net. And Scooter, where can they find you?
Scooter McGee on YouTube, the Scooter McGee on Twitter, and Scooter McGee on Facebook.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, gang, it was great seeing you today. Happy 1st of March. And Thank you for watching today on another episode of the Conspiracy Keepers. We'll catch you hopefully in under a week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, thank you.
Mhm.